The air in revolutionary France hung heavy, thick with the stench of change and the promise of a brutal reckoning. Amidst this crucible of societal upheaval, a new symbol of justice, or perhaps terror, was forged. One of history's most prolific and chillingly efficient execution devices. It was the guillotine, an icon inextricably linked with the Reign of Terror, yet born from an unlikely, even ironic, champion. Its adoption was championed not by a bloodthirsty revolutionary, but by none other than King Louis XVI himself, the very monarch who would, in a cruel twist of fate, ultimately surrender his own head to its cold embrace. His desire to usher in a new era of standardized execution, a method swift, clean, and mercifully devoid of the horrific spectacles that had long sated the bloodlust of Parisian crowds. Before this grim marvel of engineering, public executions were a macabre ballet of prolonged suffering. Picture the breaking wheel, where a condemned soul was systematically shattered, limb by agonizing limb, a slow dance with death that could stretch for hours under the jeering gaze of the masses. Or consider the axe and sword wielded by executioners whose skill varied wildly. A clean, swift stroke was a rarity, a blessing often denied. More commonly, multiple hacking blows were required, each missing its mark, each prolonging the agony, igniting the fury of a crowd demanding a quicker, more definitive end. Revolutionary France, yearning for order even in its chaos, demanded consistency, humanity, and above all, an end to the grotesque lottery of a botched execution. They sought a death machine that transcended human error, ensuring that rich and poor alike faced the same swift, impartial justice. As the designs for this new instrument of swift justice took shape in the late 18th century, the minds behind it delved deep into the brutal physics of severance. Early concepts toyed with a crescent-shaped blade designed to wrap around the neck like a macabre embrace, or even blunt instruments meant to crush. But whispered through the workshops, a legend suggests a different architect for its defining feature. It is said that Antoine Louis, often credited with the prototype, received an unexpected, chilling piece of advice from an amateur locksmith with a peculiar interest in mechanics, King Louis XVI. The king, known for his hobbies, purportedly recommended an oblique or slanted blade over the more obvious crescent or straight-edge designs. The bitter irony, of course, is that this very suggestion would later seal his own fate, ensuring the devastating efficiency of his end. The reasons for rejecting the seemingly straightforward straight blade were rooted in grim practicality and the cold, hard physics of destruction. A straight blade, much like a cleaver, would strike the entire width of the neck simultaneously. This meant it would instantly encounter the collective resistance of bone, muscle, and sinew across a broad contact area. The result? A catastrophic loss of momentum, a blade slowed, perhaps even jammed, threatening to bounce, or worse, leave the victim partially severed, an unimaginable horror. Test executions, far from abstract theory, proved the straight blade unreliable, often compressing bone and cartilage rather than cleanly slicing through. This compression, rather than excision, promised precisely the prolonged suffering the guillotine was designed to eliminate. The solution, then, was a stroke of macabre genius, the angled or slanted blade. This ingenious design transformed a blunt chop into a devastatingly efficient slicing motion, akin to carving through tough bread with a saw. As the heavy blade plummeted, one side would engage the neck first, initiating contact at a single, acute point. From there, the contact point would traverse diagonally across the neck, a rapid, precise progression of cutting edge. This slicing action drastically reduced the initial resistance, requiring significantly less raw force than a direct, blunt impact. The angled edge ensured immediate, rapid penetration through muscle, sinew, and vertebrae, unhindered by the combined resistance of the entire neck. The sheer momentum of the heavy, falling blade, once engaged in this slicing motion, was more than enough to carry it clean through, guaranteeing instantaneous decapitation. The guillotine, with its flawlessly angled blade, quickly earned its infamous moniker, the nation's razor. Its design replaced the unpredictable human element with cold, mechanical perfection. Executions became almost instantaneous, a grim testament to its efficiency. No more repeated horrific strikes, no more prolonged visible suffering for the condemned. Death was standardized, equal for all, a swift, final act. The angled blade's success was undeniable. After its official adoption in 1792, it became the universal standard, enduring for nearly 2 centuries. Over 15,000 souls met their end by its mechanism in France alone, with other nations adopting subtle variations. Records of its failure to completely sever a head are remarkably few, a stark contrast to the grim lottery of pre-revolutionary methods. Any rare mishap was typically attributed to the positioning of the condemned, not the flawless function of the blade itself. A chilling detail reportedly even true of King Louis XVI's own execution, where his jaw, rather than his neck, might have first met the unforgiving steel, yet still succumbed in a single, definitive drop. The slanted blade of the guillotine was, in essence, a triumph of engineering in the service of death, a guarantee of instant, unequivocal severance, minimizing force, maximizing reliability, and forever altering the landscape of state-sanctioned demise.